What's up, guys?
What's up, Denny? How you doing?
Good, Rich. All right.
I always forget to change my name. It's Luke. Sorry.
You're Luke.
Rich is actually in man, where'd he go? Puerto Rico or something?
Yeah,
He's
you're
like
Luke.
he's been out with John, our broker, for a while.
So just for clarity, you're Luke then, right?
I'm Luke, yes.
And you might have to change your name when you log in. Everyone turns out to be Sheridan.
Let me see how I can change it.
Oh, you're coming. Well, you can change your name. Just click on those dots, and you say rename.
I'll just be listening in today because I'm going to be driving.
Oh, what do you mean? You can still talk and drive, can't you? You can still think and drive and talk. Augustina, how are you?
Hi there. I'm good. How are you?
I don't know if that's something in a wallpaper or that's just a screen background. It looks good.
Do you like it? This is actually, I'm sitting in the market center and I'm going to be doing a Zoom call with one of my vendors. And so I thought this would be a good backdrop.
It is a good background.
Thank you.
Glenda, how are you?
Good morning. Hi.
How are things? How are things in California?
Good, good, good. Crazy weather as usual. Hot and cold all the time. But
I'm in
anyway,
Fort Myers.
you guys are lucky where you are.
Yeah, well, I'm in Fort Myers. Don't be talking to me about weather.
It's
Yeah.
freezing. That's what it is.
Oh, it's on and off here. Terrible. Yeah. Denny, how are you recuperating down there in Florida? Everything going okay?
Well, where I am, yes, of course. We're good. We're inland. We're about 25 or 30 feet high, so I mean, if you're a native of Florida, you'd have a nosebleed because we're so high altitude here.
Yeah, right. Well, God bless you. You got a lot going on down there. Yep.
Got my fingers crossed today that I figured out how to make the timer work behind me. We'll see if it works.
What's your guys' average days on market, Denny, right now?
Well, that's a great question. I think our market is pretty much hasn't done much this month because of the hurricane. Generally speaking, and okay, so I'm going to give you, John might know, John's in Naples and I'm in Fort Myers. So I think it went on average, I think we're in the 40s. John's probably looking it up right now. He'll tell you actually probably to the day/hour. So tell me in terms of, I'm not a big, we got 2 minutes yet. That's a great question, but I'm not a big guy that watches that a lot. It is an indicator, and I'm a pilot, and there's primary instruments and secondary instruments. I think that's a secondary indicator.
27.
Is that single family, all price ranges? Or
This is everything across the board, overall Naples market.
So when you go into your stats, John, go into the stats and look at what that's been on a monthly basis for the last 5 years.
All right, so this is, other than the dip from May of, well, let's see, March of 21 through August of 22 were the only times the days on market has been lower than what they are now. We go back 5 years, the longest our market has ever had in the past 5 years in Naples is 77 days on market. Now, again, that's across the board, across all price points. We customize this into condos versus single families. It changes drastically. If you go into ultra luxury, it goes, again, changes completely different.
Right. Surprising. It's surprising. I thought it was a little higher than that. Right now, it's taken 27 days to get to the property and find all the pieces. So in some areas, probably not a funny joke. Sandra, see her again. She was on our webinar. So, John, it's 1 o'clock.
It is. Look at that.
And we begin.
Look at that. So, and look at that. People are starting to hop on. Hey, Denny, if you want to make me co-host, I can start adding everybody.
Yeah, okay. I'll do that. And you go ahead and use your awesomeness to kick us off.
All right, guys. And don't forget, as you come on, if you clicked on the generic link, you're coming in here registered as Sherry. And I know the dude with the ball cap and a Nike shirt is not Sherry. He does not look like a Sherry, so please change your name. You may also want to put your location in there because, yes, referrals do flow through here quite often. So make sure we have your location in there as well. Denny, any opening thoughts? I know we got something that came up in our huddle this morning. I don't know when you want to start that topic or not, but I figured we at least jump in here.
We'll let people come on. Yeah, I've got a list of objections here. We're going to go through the objections. I've got my timer working, so we're going to be fast and furious. I do have a thought, just again for new people. What we're talking about here, if you just look behind me, is mastery level role play. So you are doing and making a serious investment in the quality of your conversations by being on this call. I know you learned from everyone on the call. We learned from you, so thank you so much for being here. We intend to add value over the next hour. We practice, and there's more than one way to skin a cat. So they used to say in my day growing up, mastery level, question-based, listening enhanced conversations. And if you haven't already, got a 1.5 years worth of prior Zoom calls and conversations on the Mastery YouTube channel. So if you go to Denny Grimes Master Real Estate and subscribe, that would be awesome. I do have a QR code, which I've been showing off the last couple of weeks because it's my first time I ever had one. All right, here's my thought of the day. And then we'll get into this role play. Something came up in our meeting. We might even start with that one, John, so you can cue some people up. If you want to participate as an agent, just go to the lower part there, raise your hand, we'll get to you. And then that's how you learn. And we generally have no problem with people doing it. Thanks so much. We're going to go through as many objections as we can. However, here's my thought of the day. Now, here in Southwest Florida, as many of you know, Fort Myers, Naples, Punta Gorda, we are picking up the pieces. Recovery is better each and every day. John shared a number with me that was somewhat shocking. Why don't you guys put it in the chat? Let's see if you can get close to this before John gives the information. We have a population here in Lee County, I guess about 600,000. How many do you have in Collier there? I'm not talking
either side of 400,000. So between the two counties, we're at about 1 million people.
Okay, so there's 1 million people here, and not everybody has their own house. Sometimes more than one person lives in a house. So here, I'd like you to put in the chat, how many houses in this 2-county area you think were destroyed? And I'm not talking about, had their roof damaged or their pool cage damaged. They're uninhabitable. Is that the right word? Uninhabitable.
Yeah, as of right now, would be considered uninhabitable.
Uninhabitable. There we go. So put something in the chat. I just want to see what kind of is rolling around in your brain. Let me click on the chat here. There it is. Yeah, I see the percentages. Okay, put real number in. Real number. Real number. I got 100K. That's not a bad guess at all. 400, 1K, 220K, not a bad guess. So
We got some people that are going to be winning tickets to Greece, Denny.
yes, you will. 232,000. That's Rick. That's not even a round number. So John, what was the number you know?
Well, come on, let's be technical, Denny. It is a round number.
Yeah, you can divide by 2.
It does not end. It does not have a decimal point in there, so it is a round number. So preliminary estimates, guys, is between 30 and 50,000 homes right now are uninhabitable. Now, in perspective, you figure there are approximately 300 residents, 300 units of housing in our 2-county area. So it's anywhere from 10 to 20% of our housing is currently uninhabitable.
So I find that doesn't, so you're gonna say, Denny, okay, I'm tired of hearing about this storm. Talk to me. All right, well, here's why I'm talking about that. Our market right now, in fact, I saw our sales so much in October. I think we've had eight sales. We generally have 40 to 50 sales a month. We've had 8 because we've been offline. So our focus has not been the shift in the market as much as just like getting back to ground zero. However, I'm still reading the national headlines, and I had a conversation with somebody yesterday that had a conversation with one of their advisors, one of their coaches. It's in the financial world, in the investment world. People out there now are talking about 9% interest rate. It was 7, which I think we're close to now. Now they're talking about maybe 9%. Gary Keller was quoted in Inman, and my wife has quoted this several times. And if you know the exact number, I think sales are going to be down in the U.S. I think he's predicting, was it 1.6, Christy or anybody in the KCN world? Do you remember? Because Kristen has mentioned that a couple different times over the last week.
Yeah, the projected drop is about 1.6 million units, which is almost 25% over last year.
So here's my thought of the day, and is that although we're not talking about the shift as we were 3 weeks ago, it's just been 3 weeks since the hurricane, it seems to be coming on and the conversations are becoming more centric and more serious. So with that in mind, I think, again, the shift is in expectations. We'll have some conversations around that. I think the bottom line is that, and this is what Gary is saying, and we're going to kind of follow this, Gary Keller, we're going to follow his advice on this, is that we're obviously going to a skill-based market. And I'm predicting in our, I don't know, again, pre-storm, I'm predicting about a 25 or 30% decrease in sales over the next 12 months.
So Denny,
Yeah.
you and I have this conversation frequently, but I think it makes sense to bring this into the mix for those that don't chat with us every day. Last year, 2021, we've said it a number of times, will never be repeated. That is not normal. What's a normal market, an annualized rate of sales in the United States, Denny?
5 million?
5 million. So let's put this in perspective. If we have a 1.6 million unit drop over a year that did 6.1 million units, what's our real drop?
25%.
Well, it's our real drop off of last year is 25%. If we take that out of the mix, our real drop in the market's about 10%.
Got it.
Okay. So it's not, we're not dealing with the world collapsing and everything. We're looking at a 10% change in the market. Last year had pent up demand due to the pandemic. If you average everything out, 5 to 5.2 million units would have been normal. So we've got about a 10% drop in the market. Now, here's the crazy thing. There are a lot of agents out there and some on this call that haven't been in business more than 5 years. And you get used to not having to actually work very hard to find business. So it's time for mindset change. Okay. And hopefully everybody in here has read the book Shift. And if you haven't, you should, especially Tactic 4. read the book. If you haven't read it in a while, read it again, because I'm a firm believer of this. I know Denny's a firm believer of this. This is the opportunity for us as agents to absolutely blow our businesses up through the roof, because we know what to do. Now that we know what to do, it's on our shoulders to do it. Most agents don't know what to do. They sit back and, oh my God, where's the business going to come from? Who do I have to pay to get me leads? And actually, on that topic, Denny, I was consulting with another mega team earlier this week and discussing her ad spend on paid leads. She spends about $100,000 a year on paid leads, generates about $280,000 in revenue. Who thinks that's a good return, or at least reasonably acceptable?
It's 3 to 1, right? 2 to 1, maybe 2 to 1.
2.5 to 1. It seems like you're making money on that until you dig deeper. Well, guess what? All of that revenue was generated by agents on her team. So there's a split to be paid there. So it turns out that after splits and costs, she's losing money. Losing money generating $300,000 a year. So now the question is how do we reverse that trend? So not only is the business profitable, how do you have the conversations with agents about, hey, it's time to actually go and do the work ourselves, because that's where we're most profitable. So it's a very interesting conversation. It's not one we're going to have today. It is one, however, to keep in the back of your mind when you're thinking about, where's my ad spend going to go? Where am I going to generate leads? I can assure you that a 3 to 1 return on your gross expenditure for lead gen is a vacuum. You will lose money.
Well, John, speaking of conversations, we've got some people that have their hands up, and we'll start with if you'll articulate the objection that came up today that we thought, man, that we should talk about that on the call today. Why don't you introduce that and give us a couple of participants, and I'll get my timer ready.
Awesome. And the first participant is going to be Tanner. It is not going to be Sandra, because we want to save comments for Sandra for later today. I don't think she deserves to be first on that. So, so here's the situation, guys. We're sitting down in our huddle today, and we're sending out text messages for Pi Day. Pi Day is coming up in about a month, and we're starting to get things prepped for that. We had great response. I think in our huddle, we probably secured 70 pies in the course of an hour. So it was a really good exercise. And here's what we learned. One of our agents texted one of her buyers, and then she said, yeah, the place is on the market. I sold it to her a year or two ago, and it's on the market now. Okay, I don't see it on our inventory sheet. Well, it's on the market with somebody else. So first of all, who's ever contacted a client and found out that they went and did business with somebody else? That stings. Thank you, Bettina. Thank you, Rick, for being honest. Tanner, yeah, it stings. Here's the challenge. This person listed their condo with a friend of a friend because they felt obligated to do so. So this is the conversation. And by the way, our agent did have the listing appointment, so this wasn't a surprise. She lost the listing to a friend of a friend. So Tanner, you're at the listing appointment. Physically raise your hand if you would like to be the seller on this. And Tanner has to overcome the objection of listing with a friend of a friend out of obligation. If you've had this before, be tough. This is how we learn. Sandra, thank you. Sandra, we can always count on you to take the hardline seller. I love it. So Sandra, you're going to be the seller on this. You guys are at the table, and you say, listen, I'm going to list it with so-and-so because it's a friend of a friend and we're obligated. And Denny, does your timer work?
Well, can you see it behind me? I'll see.
Well, we can see it.
There. All right.
All right.
Give the objection. I'll start the timer. We'll see.
Go ahead, Sandra, give the objection.
So Tanner, I appreciate you coming over, but
my husband and I have decided to list our home with Bettina. She is a friend well, she's the daughter of a very good friend of ours. I was in her wedding. We just feel really obligated to, to give her the opportunity to, represent us. So I appreciate you coming over.
No problem. I appreciate you sharing that. Now, Sandra, other than, she's being related somehow, or her through other friends and family members, is there any other reason that you would not list with me today?
No, it's pretty much because of the relationship that we have with her family, and we want to give her the chance to earn the business and to make her mark. And we, it's hard because I know we've used you in the past and we appreciate all the work that you've done. However, we just want to be able to honor that relationship with our friends and maintain that relationship and not cause there to be any friction amongst us as friends. And we feel like this would be the easiest way to do so.
Wonderful. It seems like you're loyal basically to people and your friends, which is wonderful. Now, I'm curious, what's more important about you, like at the end of the day, the relationship or what you net from this house? Because your future is also important, no?
That is correct. I mean, yeah, we are, wanting to make as much money as we can on our home. I was in her parents' wedding, so, we go way back, so it does mean a lot, the relationship as well too.
Cool. Okay. And if I may ask, how long has she been in the business for?
She's been in about 15 years.
15 years. Wonderful. So, and do you know if she's mainly working with buyers or sellers, or what is she doing exactly?
I think she does a mix of both.
And is she full-time, if I may ask?
She is.
Wonderful. Now, at the end of the day, my goal is to really make sure that you decide what's best for you. Now, what do you think sets us apart, since you have seen what I offered and you basically know what she's doing?
I think you both are very equal in your work ability. I just think still for us, it's still about the relationship, and we've got to maintain that family relationship.
Okay, relationship. And I mean, at the end of the day, relationship is very important and I value that. However, results are important too. Now, based on my track record, you've seen it, so I'm more about results. Does results matter to you also, or just the relationship basically?
No, we definitely want to get our house sold for the most that we can, but both are going to be very, very important to us as well too. And she's a good realtor also. We're just going to give her the opportunity. You both are good realtors. It's not saying one's better than the other, but we just feel like we need to honor that relationship.
1 minute.
Okay. What about this? What if I find a way that we could all benefit from the situation? Most importantly, help you, get you home sold. Now, the way I'm sorry, Danny, I'm sorry. I'm gonna a little bit unfair. I would say probably if we were to work the deal all together at the end of the day, just to ensure that you net the most at the end of the day. I'm sorry.
Sorry. All right. You only had 20 seconds left anyway. So that was it. Now, Sandra, she doesn't play nice sometimes.
You raised her hand. We can't blame ourselves on this.
No, I know.
You said to be tough, and I was being tough, and this actually happened to me a couple of weeks ago. So,
Right. So
I appreciate it.
we'll be quiet a little bit. We want to hear from some of you.
Hey, Denny, Mark Benson put up a great comment in there.
Yeah.
If you feel you end up with less money, how do you feel that will affect your friendship?
Okay. So that's the pain. There is pain in working with a friend. Now, why did Sandra make this difficult, you guys? Now, that is not the normal scenario. What's the normal scenario?
A new agent coming in.
New agent, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, her friend works at the car wash full time, and she's got a part-time real estate business, right? And so now Sandra's talking to an agent that basically has 15 years experience as a good agent. What question is rolling around in your brain that is being begged to be asked by Tanner?
I think she should have asked, why didn't you hire her last time that we worked together? Because it sounds like they recently worked together.
That is part of the scenario, so that would have been a great question.
Yeah. You're on the same path here. There's one that's, I'm just scratching my head. I'm dying to have somebody ask her this question.
What happens if it doesn't sell? Are you willing to, you know?
You could ask that.
Yeah.
Here's the question.
Would she take a referral fee?
Well, okay, even before that, if she's so convinced to use her friend, why in the world is she meeting with another agent? If you are engaged to be married, why would you interview a date online? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So ask
Does.
her, Tanner, ask her that.
Okay. So Sandra, if you're willing to, you know, work with her, why are you interviewing other agents?
That's a great question, Tanner, and I appreciate you asking that. Just out of respect for you two, you had called previously before we had talked to Bettina, and so I wanted to honor that and be able to have this conversation with you face to face.
Got it. So, all right, we'll stop there. Now, John, I want to do this again, and I want someone to be the seller, other than Sandra, and take it in a different path. And Mark, you're going to the pain. Remember, if you look behind me, Tanner, you did a nice job with the model. You acknowledged, you isolated other than that. And then you attempted to get some clarity. And then we want to go to their motivation and what's their pain. So Mark, explain your comment. Why don't you just take it over? We'll just leave Sandra there and you take it over from your line of question. Go ahead, Mark.
So Sandra, when you sell your home, what are your plans next?
We're going to be moving to Austin to be close to our grandkids.
Great. And when do you need to be in Austin?
There's no specific timeline, really. We're not in a hurry.
So Sandra, are you familiar with days on market and what that term means?
I am.
And are you familiar with our track record of getting homes sold quickly?
I am.
How do you feel that the other agent that you're interviewing is? How does their track record compare to ours?
I mean, they have more time on the market than you guys do.
And typically, Sandra, when you see something that's been on the market, do you feel it's worth more or worth less than when it was originally put on the market?
Well, I think typically we all think it's worth less.
So can you see the importance of getting it sold for top dollar in the shortest amount of time possible?
Absolutely.
That's what our track record has proven with our clients in the past. And I'd like to bring that to the table with you. If there was a way that we could work with your friend and make sure that they were compensated, would you be willing to consider us again?
That's an interesting twist. Yeah, I mean, I think as long as it's a win-win for all parties.
Great. And are you working with an agent in Austin, or is there someone I could introduce you to there?
No, you can introduce me to someone.
Great. Well, we'd love to represent you in the sale of your home, but we also like to make sure that you're getting great hands when you're in Austin, so you get the same level of service that we provide here.
I appreciate that, Mark. Thank you so much. See, I can be nice.
Yeah, but that's not like you. That was two different
I
characters.
want to meet you in person one day. I swear, I'm going to approach up you maybe.
That's two different characters. You softened up. However, and you notice what Mark did. And Mark put in the chat, say, okay, when somebody wants to work with somebody close to like a family member that basically is a UPS driver / real estate agent, the issue is, okay, Sandra, if there were a challenge in the transaction, that sometimes they go sour, would you at least give me that? Sometimes there's monkey wrenches in the transaction. That was a stupid way of saying that. Things go wrong sometimes.
Absolutely.
Have you ever heard of the term that maybe sometimes doing business with friends is tricky and dangerous?
I have, but I also know that, you know, the people like family and friends, those are the people that you should just maybe go above and beyond, you know, your normal of what you would do. I mean, you definitely want to have good service, but you want to treat them even better.
That's awesome. However, if there were a problem in this transaction and it basically maybe somebody made a mistake, what's more important to you, the longevity of your relationship with your friend or your obligation to feel like you have to give her the listing?
That's a good question, Denny. I appreciate you asking that. I would say probably the obligation of giving her the listing.
Okay. Bad Sandra again. Okay, so that's okay. That's okay. You know what? Is it possible, you guys, we'll go on to something next. So whoever has their hand up next, gonna give me a number or you get the.
Can I just say something? This actually did happen to me a couple of weeks ago. And
What was the end result?
I got the listing and they were wanting to work with their best friend's son who'd been in the business since March. And I approached it with him and I said, Chris, who do you feel more confident in protecting your money? Someone who's been in the business 20 years or someone who's been in the business just a couple of months? And he was like, you're right. And his wife was like, you're an idiot. Why did you not just call Sandra off the bat? But he felt obligated to work with their friend. And I told him, I said, Chris, I understand that. That is a very tough situation to be in. I appreciate you being honest. I said, but you know, I'm going to work for you. So do you feel comfortable in letting your friends know this is a business decision and I'm going to work with the agent that I've worked with before? He goes, yeah, I do.
Well, that would have been an easier one to handle. However, what if Chris has been in the business 15 years and had a great track record? That was the character you were playing.
Well, I know that, but you know.
So Denny, one of the things that I noticed about the way that Sandra handled this is she focused on the relationship with the friend. So I would have, honestly, I would have been really, really solid and not even beating around the bush. I would have said, listen, Sandra, at the end of the day, we're coming into a very tough market. Wouldn't you agree? Yes. Awesome. Are you going to feel like if you have to fire your agent or you have a bad transaction, would you rather fire me or fire your friend?
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's again, take her to the pain.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, that digs it right in there because the pain, in most cases, guys, the pain of firing a friend,
It's hard.
the long run is greater, or excuse me, is less than the pain of having a bad transaction. Okay, so if they're going to have to fire somebody because of a bad transaction, they want to fire you. They don't want to fire their friend.
Right. All right, number two, who's up?
All right, Jacob is up.
Jacob, here we go.
Jacob is next in line. Who's going to be our seller?
Well, we don't know if it's the seller yet. Jacob.
All right, cool. Let's
pick a number. Pick a number, 1 to 15.
15.
All right, this could be a buyer or seller. Do you want a buyer or seller?
Let's do buyer.
Okay, I don't want to buy right now because there's too much competition. Who's the buyer?
I'll be
Buyer.
I'll be the
Bettina? Bettina's the buyer.
Well, Bettina, are you going to be also an agent? You got your hand up for an agent, right?
Yeah, she's going to be an agent coming up. Yep.
So Jeff Pennington, good to see you, my friend. So we need somebody who does not have their hand up.
Round and round we go. And we're going to stop on Jeffrey Pennington.
I would pick that. We're all channeling Jeff, okay? Nice to see you. I trust you're well. So I don't want to buy right now because there's too much competition.
Hey, Jeff, I can completely understand that. So other than the competition in the market, is there any reason why you wouldn't sell your house right now?
It's a buyer.
Oh, any reason why you wouldn't buy a house right now?
You know, I just feel like I'm going to spend too much money with all that competition. I don't want to overpay.
Okay, so is it more about getting the right price for the house or how many houses are on the market and how many people are putting offers in on them?
Well, I mean, right now I just feel like you have to really step up on price and pay and maybe not get what you want in order to compete. And with all that competition, I just feel like I'm not going to get the house I want at a fair market value.
Gotcha. Okay, so we're more focused on the house that we want with the fair market value. Okay, got it. Well, if I could find the house, if we could search around to find the house that you like, and we can get in early and get an offer in early, a strong enough offer, would you feel more comfortable moving forward with a purchase?
Well, when you say strong offer, what does that mean?
A fair market value. We'll put together CMAs, see what the market's telling us those houses are worth. If you don't feel like they're worth it, we won't put an offer on them. You give me a list of things that you want, and we'll go search for that. If I can find the one for you at the right price, I think we can get you a house.
I mean, if there was a house out there that I don't have to compete on and run the price up, I mean, I would be interested in looking at that. I just don't want to get into some kind of bidding war where, you know, I'm trying to, I just don't want to get into a situation where, you know, most houses I feel like are priced probably where they should sell, you know,
Gotcha.
and the market is causing them to go a lot higher than that. But I'd rather buy a house priced, you know,
I completely understand
for
that,
where
right?
they're
So,
initially priced at in that range of what is,
yeah,
you know, probably priced closer to what I feel like the value should be.
gotcha. So over the past couple of years, we have seen that a bunch of different offers coming in. I mean, 40, 50, $60,000 over asking. Now we're in what we're calling is a shift, and there are less offers on houses than there were even 6 months ago. So at this point in the market, you actually have a better shot of getting the house that you want at the price that you want. I could show you a few things on how offers on houses are going down. And then if you look at those numbers and you feel comfortable, do you think we could move forward and purchase a house in the next few months?
I mean, yeah, I mean, if you think there's some stuff out there that I wouldn't have to compete on and overpay on, I would be interested in looking at that.
Okay, gotcha. So, yeah, I don't really know where to go now, Denny. We've kind of gone around and around for a second.
Well, let's get some clarity. Help them out. We've got 1 minute to go. Who wants to take over? Who wants to take over for 1 minute? Phone a friend. You know, why don't we just get some clarity? So let me ask you a couple questions, Jacob. What is this motivation?
Doesn't want to overpay for a house.
No.
Well, he wants to buy a house, but not right now.
Why does he want to buy?
I should ask that. That was a good question.
Here is the going on. Watch behind me. You did that. Then you did not get clarity. You really didn't get clarity about his situation. We didn't go into motivation why he wants to buy, and you didn't get into go with the pain so much. So
okay.
So let me do this. Let me just handle this real quick. We'll go to the next one. All right, Jeff. Help me get some clarity here just for a moment. Oh, by the way, Jacob, you said CMA. We don't. That's a lot of people don't know what that is. Just be careful you're not using.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Industry lingo. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So Jeff, let me say, I made a couple notes here. You said you didn't want to overpay and you didn't want to compete on a home. Is that right?
That's right.
So would you consider a home nobody else wants?
Yeah, unless there was something really wrong with it.
Well, if nobody wants it, what does that suggest, by the way?
That there's something wrong with it.
Or maybe it's overpriced. So, I mean.
Oh, yeah, maybe to begin with, overpriced, yeah.
So are you concerned with what's more important? You owning a home and getting it at a fair price, or making sure you're buying a house and you have no pressure? I mean, there's nobody else that wants it but you.
No, I'm more concerned about buying a home that I like at a fair price.
Okay. And even if somebody else wanted it, right?
Yeah, as long as I can get it at a fair price.
And okay, so let me ask you this: if that house was out there, how would we know how would we know it's out there?
I don't know. I guess we'd have to see.
Maybe, you really can't win in this market unless you're in it. So where Jacob, you went trying to get him to go in and think about the buying decision. I want him to think about the looking decision, is to get him out there looking. Now, again, the market will slow down a little bit. That was a kind of a cool tack you took him down. And what if that house was out there right now? You wouldn't have to overpay. And would you move forward if you found it?
Yeah, I think so. If it was the right house and I didn't have to overpay, yeah, I'm ready to go.
Well, then I guess the issue is, why don't we see if there's one out there? And if there is, awesome. If there's not, well, we'll wait for the right house. How's that?
That sounds like a good plan.
So sometimes you win, you guys, by at least keeping them in the market. And so it's not really about buying the house right away. It's like keeping them active and looking. And if you can keep them looking, you have a better chance of getting them into reality. Now, I never went to motivation. Oh, by the way, and we didn't ask this question, so we always want to ask this question. So Jeff, are you currently renting, or are you do you own?
I'm renting right now.
Now with that being said, there's a whole nother line of question you could go down about rent. We've done that before. The only thing I will say, Jacob, about their tack about, you were talking about the market slowing, and Jeff was being nice. I said, well, why is the market slowing? You're actually going to be painting yourself into a corner saying, well, you know, there's more inventory and interest rates are up. You might be talking me out of being a buyer. That could blow up in your face. That's why you need the motivation. And then if they're renting, they're guaranteed to lose. Anyway, you did a great job following the initial part of the model and just got a little bit sideways. So awesome. Good job. John, are you back?
I am, sir. Thank you.
Awesome. So we're ready for who's next.
All right. We have a couple things in the chat that came up. So Audrina, are you able to take yourself off mute and put your camera on and join this one? This is your objection. Love to have you to be the buyer. Is she still here? I see her. Audrina Flowers, are you there? All right. So one of the Sherrys, whose screen name happens to be L. Oh, there's Audrina. Hey, awesome. All right. Audrina, here's the situation. You're going to be the buyer. By the way, you are muted. You need to take yourself off mute. Okay.
Got it.
Looks like you're shopping at Costco or Burlington Coat Factory or something.
I'm doing some shopping, yes.
Awesome. And guess what? We have conversations when either we're shopping or buyers are shopping. So Natalie, Audrina is a buyer. All right. She is a buyer that does not want to sign a buyer agency agreement. You have 4 minutes to work through this objection.
Oh.
So this is how we get better. And guess what? Your hand is up, your top left corner. So you rolled the dice and this is the one you got. Thank you for participating. We appreciate it. Ask her to sign it. She'll give you the objection and you got 4 minutes to work through it. All right.
Okay.
Ready, set, go.
Am I meeting with her or is this
You are face to face with her right now.
It's Audrina, right?
Yes,
Yep.
hi.
Hi, Audrina. Okay, so we've talked about. Okay, so I guess the next step is to make this official, and we can start looking at houses and move this forward. Is to sign the buyer's agreement, and I have it right here with me.
So does that mean that you would be the only person that I'm able to work with?
Exactly. So I'm not sure if, well, actually, no, let me go back. That's exactly what it means. As a buyer, you are not required to pay commission to the buyer's agent. That's what the sellers typically do. The only commitment you have to me and I have to you is that I will be looking for a home that fits your criteria, and you would commit to only working with me during the time that we're working together. That's a lot of talking.
And what if I don't feel like you're providing the service at a level that I need?
Great question. We can certainly talk about what is it that you feel that's lacking, and we can address it. I'm very open to communicating and making sure the buyers understand where we're at in each step of the way.
Quick interjection, Natalie. Don't forget the model. Acknowledge, isolate.
Okay. So is there any hesitation why you would not want to sign the buyer's agreement?
I just don't want to have to commit working with only one particular agent.
Okay, can you tell me a little bit about that?
In the past, when I've looked for a home, I've worked with an agent that didn't return my phone calls, wasn't really sending me any houses. I found a property that I liked and she never called me back to confirm that a showing was scheduled. So it just didn't work out. So I'm a little nervous that that's going to happen to me again.
I hear what you're saying. I understand. And it's something that it would be concerning to anyone. Other than that, getting an agent or being stuck with an agent that's not going to deliver, is there anything else that would keep you from signing the contract right now? Or the
No.
buyers? Okay. So what if how would I say that?
Any way you want.
How would you say what?
Well, basically,
Can I interject?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so I was a new agent a few years ago. When I started script practicing, the market center that I worked at then really wanted us to focus on the culture and the other people that could help if you weren't available. So maybe suggesting something like that. You know, I mean, you're not truly a one-person agent. You have a team working with you at all times.
Got 30 seconds.
Okay. So I'm actually part of a team, and we work very closely together. We're always there to help each other out in the event that one of us can't show a property at a particular time. So that specifically would be covered.
Okay, great. So let's go ahead and do that since you have people that could help you if you're busy. And then does this lock me in forever? Or if I want to get out of the agreement, do I just give you a phone call, an email?
You know,
All right, time. Man, she got really nice all of a sudden. She must be
She
the
did. I think she found like a really good dress or something. She's like, oh, I'm happy now.
No, I just sat down.
So
I was
John,
engaged in the call.
That's this is a great one. I'm glad somebody put it in the chat and we're working on it because a lot of my agents, our agents, bold agents, get a little bit weird on the buyer's agreement. So let's do it again. Does anybody who uses this loyalty agreement regularly and almost all the time for their clients, anybody like that on the call? And we'll let you demonstrate how to do it.
I have a quick question, and I don't use the agreement all the time. I work with more sellers, but that's going to change. So would you say, hey, well, how about you give me 60 days, and if you don't like what I'm doing, we can always cancel the agreement? I'm just curious. Is that
You could do that. I mean, I have the hassle-free listing, they can fire me at any time. I mean, we do it for sellers. The interesting thing is why our agents, if you go and you work with a seller, we have no challenge, no mental block about getting a listing agreement signed by the seller. Yet, for whatever reason, we don't get a listing agreement signed by the buyer. Why do you think that is?
in California, it scares buyers because it's like, oh, you're going to pay money, where they hear you don't have to pay.
So anybody want to take it on? I know Mandalay.
I'll take it on, Denny.
All right,
Jeffrey, stepping it up. Love it.
Jeffrey, you got 2 minutes. Go.
Who am I doing it with?
Do it with me.
All right. All right, Denny, so if you don't have any other questions, what I'm going to do is send you over our buyer representation agreement that just says I represent your best interests while we're out seeing homes later this afternoon. You can sign that electronically. A couple things I just want to make you aware of is we don't do dual agency at our office. I'm only representing you, not the seller. And designated representation that's checked off there that we do. That just means if another agent at my brokerage has a house for sale, I can go show you and I'll represent you. They'll represent the seller, but we just happen to both be at the same brokerage. So you have any questions about that before I have you sign here?
Well, I totally didn't understand that. So, so what, in essence, what am I signing? Do I have to work with you? Is that what I'm saying?
This is an agreement. This agreement says I represent you, not the seller, and I'm going to take you out and show you houses and keep your best interests in mind.
Okay, so then I have to work with you on the houses you show me, correct?
No, you'll be working with me going forward as your real estate agent. I'm going to invest all my time, knowledge, and energy in helping you find the right house and helping you win at the closing table. And this is how we get paid as a real estate agent. But typically, it will not cost you anything. Whatever commission is listed in the MLS is what will be paid from the seller to me. If, however, the seller's not paying a commission, do I have your permission to negotiate that on your behalf?
I'm tempted to put myself and not be super hard, although and maybe your market's pretty sophisticated up there in the Northeast, but some of that stuff I'm thinking would somebody really understand that. So I'm from Ohio, so maybe I'm just slow. Well, let me ask you, how long is the agreement for, Jeff?
So Denny, normally we do 90 days. It can take longer, but I know in your time frame, you said you want to be in a house by the end of the year. So that gives us 90 days to get that done. If for any reason during that period you're not happy with my services, you can give me writing and notice, and we'll terminate that agreement at the end of 90 days. If you want to continue, we can continue.
Well, I've had several agents. I mean, this is my third trip into the DC area, and I've had other agents show me some stuff, and no one's ever asked me to sign anything like I have to sign my life away and agree to work with you. I mean, just, hey, look, if you show me a house, I'll buy it. I mean, I just don't feel comfortable signing something like that. I've never even heard of it before.
Well, Denny, other than, no, I listen, I appreciate that. I'm sorry if no one's ever even mentioned that to you. Other than signing the agreement, is there any reason you wouldn't want to work with a great agent to go out and help you find this next house?
No, I mean, I'm happy. Let's go. Let's go. I got, I packed my lunch and we're ready to go. Let's go look at some houses.
Okay. So, and I'm happy to do that. And may I ask, with those other agents, how come you didn't buy a house?
Well, we didn't show me the right house. And so we just did a couple exploratory trips here. Now that the job is settled and we're getting ready to move in. So now we're more serious.
So having an agent that works specifically for you to help you find the right houses and not waste your time is important, right?
Of course.
So if I could show you how I can be that agent, not waste your time, and make sure that you're represented at the highest level. So we find you the right house, we get you to the closing table on time, as hassle-free as possible. Would it make sense to have an agreement in place so I'm specifically working for you and not taking my time with other people that are in agreement with me?
Well, let me test drive you and we'll see how it goes.
You know what, Denny? I think that's fair. You obviously have had a situation where you work with a couple people and it wasn't quite what you were expecting. I want to make sure that I can prove my worth to you. How about we do a 30-day agreement, and at any time during the 30 days, if you're not happy, you can terminate me.
No, I'll go out with you. I'll go out with you here. That we're going to go look at houses tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. So we still on or not? So all right, let's just stop it right there. I like the way you came back. Any comments from anybody else on that? We'll go on to something else here in a minute. Another objection. I do want to say something that's missing the way I would do it. Jeff got a little closer to it. Any comment from anyone on Jeff's approach to me? I like the fact he was on it and he negotiated down from 9 years to 90 days to 30 days test drive, so that was kind of a cool thing to do because you could get a lot of people there. I thought you were a little bit too technical for me on the phone. However, maybe you have to talk like that in your area, disclose all that.
I think one thing that I have said to people before is that, by not having this sign, I'm actually representing the seller. And in Texas, if we don't have that sign, we're representing the seller. So we can only just provide information. We can't negotiate for them. We can't do anything like that. So having the buyer rep agreement signed, we're able to give them all information that we know and help them to negotiate to the best of our ability. That's
Texas?
That's Texas.
You don't have dual agency there? Or all right. So what we have in Florida is we have we're not dual agents. We're just what's the word I'm looking for?
We're transaction brokers. We represent the transaction by default.
That's right. So
Neither party. We represent the transaction.
yeah, there's no agency agreements. And so every state is different. So I understand why you may have to do that. Here's the point, you guys. Watch this. I'll just have Jeff just reverse it. Give me 90 seconds. So Jeff, well, this agreement is really for your benefit more than it is mine.
Really? How's that?
Well, because this is going to be kind of the contractual agreement, a relationship, kind of like an attorney-client relationship. So what it means is that if a home comes on the market that meets your needs, I have to let you know about it first because we are under contract together. That's the agreement. Now, and so I have some clients, some buyers out there that they want me to look for a home for them, and they wouldn't sign the agreement. And I said, okay, well, that you're not going to sign the agreement. That's awesome. But however, I have to show and let my clients know about the properties first. So if you want to know about be on the cutting edge of when the best house is coming to the market, you're going to need this type of agreement with some agent. If you don't, you're going to be subject to finding out about it days or maybe even a couple of weeks after it's already sold. So what do you want to do?
Well, I mean, if it's a really nice house, I'd like to know about it right away.
Right. So, you wouldn't buy a car without test driving it. Why don't we do it for a week and see how you like me? If you
Does
like
that cost anything?
No, we don't charge anything. Oh yeah, we do. We have a $295 fee. We have $295 if you find a house you like.
All right. Well, if you waive that for me, we got a deal.
All right, we got time for another one, John. Thanks.
We do, and Denny, I want to do one before we get into the last one. Who Bettina is going to be the agent, and this is a perfect one for her. Before we get into the last one, a mindset thing on this. The reason why most people don't want to sign an agency agreement, a buyer agency or buyer loyalty agreement, is they feel they're in a better position having many agents work for them at the same time. Is that fair? Yes. Why? Well, whoever's the hungriest is going to go out and do the most work. So has anyone here ever been on a diet before, a restricted diet, say, like no carbs or no meat or whatever it is, and you go out to a restaurant, it's 8 at night, you haven't eaten since first thing in the morning, and they bring out the appetizer, it's like fried shoe leather, and you're all over it because you're just famished. Do you make the best decisions when you're under stress? No. So how can an agent represent a buyer's best interest if they're waiting to figure out if they're going to have macaroni and cheese and hot dogs or ramen noodles for dinner because they don't have any business going? It's just something for you to think about, to work into your conversations with people. And you don't want to criticize, hey, that guy's only eating macaroni and cheese, I eat steak. No, you don't want to say it that way. But you want to ask them the questions. Is somebody who is that hungry able to make the best decisions for you? So just a little mindset check. Okay, so Denny, the last one was a reversal of an earlier role play.
I got the role plays here.
Oh, you got one there?
Yeah.
Oh, I had a request online, so I was going to go to that one. But go ahead.
That's fine. What is that? I probably have it.
The request is you are a new agent, which is great that Bettina's got her hand up, going against an experienced agent who is the friend of the seller. Would you play that role play any differently?
Ooh, no, I probably wouldn't. I think, having had multiple experiences where I worked with, family members or friends and it went south horribly. That's a great way to answer that question, is to say, in that situation, would you rather be dealing with me or would you rather be with somebody you've had this?
Works the same way, then we don't need to do that one. Awesome. Denny, how many cards do you have left? 14?
I've got about 15 cards here.
Okay, pick a number 1 to 15, Bettina.
8.
8 it is. What do we got, Den?
All right, this is going to be one. This is a buyer.
Noelle, you ready?
This is a buyer.
Sure.
All right, the buyer says, I'd like you to show me some houses very interested in this area. However, I'm a year or two away from buying.
Okay.
Okay. Am I the buyer or the
You're the
agent?
Noel's the
buyer.
buyer, Bettina's the agent.
Okay. Yeah. Hi, Bettina. Thanks for meeting with me today. I just, you know, we're from out of state and we're actually thinking we're going to move here eventually, but we're not really ready to buy right now. We're just kind of curious what's out there and what the price point is that we could afford in the area.
I can absolutely understand that. Other than, you know, waiting, what is, or other than, you know, waiting a year or two, what is your motivation behind, you know, moving and purchasing?
Well, we are going to move here when we retire, and we're not retiring for a couple more years.
Okay, got it. Okay, that's a hard one. 'Cause you're moving somewhere, you know, out of state. I can totally understand that. What is it about moving to Texas that you know, would be attractive for retirement?
Well, we're coming from Denver, and the prices here, the prices there seem much higher. So I think we could have a much nicer house here, I would hope. But that's kind of why we want to look around and make sure that our impression of that is really true.
Okay. Okay, I can understand that. Tell me this. What if you were to wait a year or two and the market shifted and, you know, prices went up? How would that make you feel?
I mean, for sure, I wouldn't like it if prices went up, but I assume they will just because they have been going up every year. Also, prices in Denver continue to rise, so I think we'd be able to sell there higher. So I'm not as concerned about that overall because I think it would end up being a wash.
Okay. Okay. I can understand that. This is hard. I don't want to force her into retirement when she's not ready.
No, that's not the issue. The issue is you don't want to spend time with her if she's 2 years away. How do you navigate the conversation?
I mean, in this situation, you know, I can't force her to go into retirement. I think, you know, typically my response would be, I definitely love to work with you. You know, I could either say, I'd love to keep in touch with you and just, you know, continually be, you know, sending you things to kind of help you research the market. So when you do get here, you're an experienced, you are well-versed in the market and you understand what fair market value is. Or ask her to take a trip down and look at houses with me and just kind of do a dry run and just, you know.
She's already in town. She wants to look at houses. We've all had this call, you guys.
I take them out and I spend time with them and then they go home and they call me 6 months later.
She's 2 years away.
Bettina, how about something like this? Noel, let me ask you, and this was just put up in the chat and I would have gone the same direction. You know, you mentioned that prices in Denver are still going up. What do you think is going to happen here?
I'm sure prices here will go up as well. So it just seems like you can get more for your money here.
Okay, yeah. So, okay, so it sounds like you're willing to take a risk that prices might go up. Let me just ask you, if you stumbled on a property, said, man, this is just awesome. What if you could find a way to get it today and have someone else pay for it for the next couple of years?
You mean like buy it and have somebody rent it from us? Is that what you're saying? Okay. So like if we go out today and find something awesome that we feel like could be the perfect retirement home, we would then be looking at getting a second mortgage and having a renter in there.
Yeah.
Okay. I could see that happening for sure. I mean, financially, I think we're in a place we could do that.
The beauty of it is someone else is paying the mortgage for you.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And just don't forget to talk to your accountant about all the other ways you're going to be saving money on taxes and so forth for the next couple of years. So it might work well for you. I don't know, but it's worth a shot, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you have contacts or people in your office, John, that can help me with the property management side of it? All
right. So I like the fact. Okay, so you have a little bit of hearing loss. You didn't. So I like the fact you took her down that road, which is, okay, maybe you could turn her into a buyer. Now she's still saying, I don't have the ability to sell until or buy here and rent. Don't have the ability, don't have the temperament for it until we sell, and I'm 2 years away. I would like to, though, to get familiar with the area. I've got my motor home here. I'm here for 4 days.
Okay. I would tell her I'd be
Role play. It's me. It's me. Come on.
okay.
What are you gonna say?
Well, I would love to take you out and look at houses, and hopefully we can really understand what it is that you're looking for and find the perfect home for your retirement. I don't know where to go from there. Denny, help me.
Okay, so just reverse it. Anybody else want to take the last minute? How would you handle this? We all have buyers that, we want to be prudent about our time, but we can't basically have everyone walk in with a check stapled to their forehead. So what's a tactful way to handle? How do you handle this tactfully and not waste?
I think I would tell them that I could set up an internet search for them, and then after we set that up and start looking at properties online, I could be like, well, look, this one has an open house tomorrow. Or this one has, and even if I meet them there, at least, they're seeing what's out there without me taking my whole day away from my weekend.
Anne Marie, you had a comment.
Yeah, I probably would have take them out and probably let them know I'll take you out to search for the property that you like, and we'll get an idea of what you're looking for. So when you are ready to retire within the next 2 years, I'll be able to help you. In the meantime, I'll be sending some information monthly or periodically about the area, so you have an idea what the market is doing, and if you decide to purchase earlier.
So, all right, let me give you my 1 minute answer, and John, you can close this out. Generally speaking, I'd say, Anne Marie, just role play with me just for a moment. So Anne Marie, have you decided where in Dallas you want to be located?
Oh, not quite sure yet.
So you're probably the first decision. I mean, the houses we look at today aren't going to be available in 2 years, right?
Most likely not, yeah.
So would you agree that maybe areas we should be talking about first? What section of town, what development, et cetera?
Yeah, that sounds like something we should be talking about, but would you be able to take me to those areas so I could see, an idea of the area?
Well, I have a better idea. Why don't you come in and I'll help you. I'll give you a map. I'm going to show some areas out there that, talk to you about what you're looking for, maybe point out some areas that you should drive through to see if you like. I'll check and see if there's any open houses. That was a good thing, Nicole. And the other thing, particularly in a lot of markets, you have builders with model homes. And so you might be able to have a relationship. You might, once you narrow down the area a little bit, if you want to get into a couple of model homes or maybe some homes that are vacant. However, it's not, you got to go down the path as, do you think sellers want you, whether it's your listing or somebody else's listing, to take an unqualified buyer into a home that they have to get ready for a showing on? So I go down the path of helping them get oriented to the area. There may be some model homes, some open houses or whatever, and invest a little time with them. And if they're insistent on spending 4 days looking for homes, I say, I get that. I can't do that. I've got people wanting to move in the next couple of weeks. So, I do my best to be nice and be professional and not blow them off, but I just don't have 4 days. Now they'll find somebody with 4 days to invest with them that are 2 years away, but they're going to be brand new. And to use John's analogy, hungry. John, it's 2:02. How do you want to put a bow in it? Any ahas out there?
Hey, let's take a couple quick ahas, guys, and then we're going to talk about next week.
Hey, John, Denny, real quick. Denny, you probably know Pam O'Brien.
From where?
She's up here was in Austin. She was like back in the day. She's a coach. She used to be a team leader in Arlington. You don't know her?
No.
Anyway, she did a fantastic business planning seminar for us the other day, and she gave us some kind of little quick scripts. And I thought about it during the buyer representation, but I couldn't remember what it was that she said. And this might be more for your SOI. I would be appalled if an agent showed you a house without representing you I respect and care about you too much not to do that.
That's nice. Like it. Thanks, Jeff. All right, John.
Another aha, guys. One more.
I like the national statistics that you shared with us, John. I think it really kind of like gives us a little extra confidence that it's not really what
It's not as bad as it looks.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So I'm gonna mute Kevin because he's there we go. There we go. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate that. Get a little echo there. All right, guys. Next week, the 28th, is Halloween Day here. Denny won't be here. You got me. And it's our Halloween party at the office, so I'm pretty sure that I have to dress up. I expect you guys to play along and have some fun. All right? Because we can have fun on this. So come in costume. You guys all have Halloween parties at your offices. Mark Benson, I know you're going to be dressed up because you know what? It's the same office as mine. So let's have some fun next Friday, guys. Same time, 1 o'clock, same bat time, same bat channel. And we'll come up with some ghoulish objections for you, all right?
Groovy. Y'all be careful out there.
See you guys.
You guys.
Bye.
Thank you.